Hey all, welcome to ShareTreck. This is Raj here. Friends, it's November 6th, 2025. And this morning when I was looking at the stock futures, it was a little negative first and then it started moving towards the positive. And right now it's looking pretty decent. So I would say that the investors are probably wrestling with the cooling enthusiasm around artificial intelligence and technology stocks after recent sharp rallies. And there are concerns about high valuation and post-earning reactions that have tempered the sentiment. So I'm thinking that more corporate earnings will be on the tap, but after the corporate earnings, what is it that's going to motivate or inspire the market? I don't see much out there. Early trading saw Dow futures down 0.24%, S&P 500 down 0.28%, and Nasdaq 0.42%. But now, as I started this live stream, they are all in the positive. So probably there is some optimism around the Supreme Court saying that the Trump tariffs are illegal and they should be rolled back. But I personally feel that the tariffs are already baked into the pricing. I mean, the rollback of the tariff is already baked into the pricing. And the reason I say that is because all those companies which had been impacted by tariffs, say a company like Walmart or Caterpillar, all of them are at almost their all-time highs, and their recent earnings have been really good and their revenues have also been good. So if you recollect, I had put a article earlier, who is actually paying the tariffs. So they did some kind of engineering of some sort, and to cut a long story short, they still have the profits with them. Now, one way of looking at why we reached this high level despite the tariffs is that probably the market has already priced in the fact that tariffs will be ruled illegal. And if that is the case, then if the Supreme Court rules that the tariff is illegal, then what we are going to see is just a little bit of a jump upward for the stock price and nothing more. However, if the Supreme Court were to rule that tariffs are legal and they can stay, then I would see the market drop. Now, the reason why some of these companies will have a little bit of a jump is because they not only made more than usual profits and more than usual revenue, but also they paid the tariffs, which are now going to be refunded, and they have no way to pass it back to the customers who paid it. So they're going to keep that in their balance sheet. Now, those companies also have a second advantage. They have already increased the prices. That's why they were able to keep the margins. And having anchored their prices at a higher level, they may have a token rollback a little bit, but they would have gathered more profit margin. That is point number one. Point number two is that the tariff that comes back to their balance sheet is actually extra cash. It will be in billions of dollars. And that could be used by the company to either invest in AI or to do share buyback. Whatever they do, it's the advantage for the shareholder. And that's the reason why probably there will be a little bit of a jump when the Supreme Court rules that the tariffs are illegal. However, if the Supreme Court did rule that the tariffs were legal, then all that advantages goes away and the stock market will drop. This is my feeling. I would like to hear from you guys what you think about it. Now, having said that, I would like to go and have a look at our TradingView platform. Hi, Hot Dog. Thanks for joining. I'd like to go to the TradingView platform and check out what we have out here. So let's look at our Nasdaq futures and S&P 500 futures first. So I'm going into S&P 500 futures. I have, for your convenience, I have drawn a line out here. There's a diagonal line of resistance, and I've connected the top of the wick here, the top of the candle body here, and the top of the candle body out here. So it has got 3 contact points. So it's a valid line of resistance, and this is the line of support, this orange line that you see at the bottom. And we have not converted that into a resistance. Day before yesterday we were down, but yesterday we did not close below 6791.25. Therefore, this support is still active, and we bounced off it today. And we have a resistance today at 6,858 for S&P 500. And then we are getting into a narrow wedge formation where the price will have to decide whether it's breaking out up or down. Now, looking at the pattern out here, I would say we are in a bullish trend, and therefore the breakout is more probable on the upside than on the downside. regardless of whatever we may think about the market. Even if things are not looking that great from a fundamental perspective, the technicals are saying that it's going to break out on the upside. Now, if I look at the bearish divergence, I can see that the correction is already starting to happen. I don't know when the correction will be adequate and we are back to status quo and we can start moving up, but I think we are fast approaching that before we touch the diagonal line of support of this parallel channel. So I think that the future looks pretty okay at this point of time from a S&P 500 perspective. If you look at NASDAQ futures, the market sentiment is tending to neutral. MACD is already bearish and momentum is flat but above average. And we also have the bearish divergence out here, and this bearish divergence is starting to play out as we see a series of candles which are going downwards. And today is no different. We continue to have support at 25,206.25, and we will potentially have the first resistance at 26,108. Now let's look at dollar index, which is slipping, and also VIX, which is down 1%. It's back below 18.20. So I'm going to mark 18.20 as a resistance. And this looks like a bear flag to me. And therefore, I'm thinking that VIX is also indicating that the markets are going to continue going upwards. One of the things I feel probably helping the markets could be the fact that there is quantitative easing on the tabs, or probably there is stealth QE already happening, and that could also mean that so much of money chasing so few stocks. But on the contrary, if you look at the repo market, I think the repo is showing a whole lot of activity out there, which is unprecedented. I saw a chart in one of the YouTube videos where the presenter was saying that we have never seen such high use of repo in the past. So use of repo means the financial institutions are not lending each other either because they don't have the money or they don't trust each other. I suspect that they don't have the money, and which could also mean a lot of money is in the market based on leverage as well. So we are indeed sitting on a time bomb. I don't know when it's going to blast, but all these things are happening, shenanigans are happening, which we retail investors will find difficult to understand, but it all accounts to more risk in my opinion. So that said, let us look at gold. Gold continues to consolidate out here. I like the consolidation. This was a bear flag and this was our target, and we covered almost 50% of it. So I said that it's no longer a bear flag, and therefore I'm thinking that we are building a base up here, getting ready to move upward again, and that's my feeling. However, when I look at the market sentiment, it is still bearish, but it's not dropping, it's becoming flat. MACD is moving towards the signal line and momentum is above average and picking up. So overall, I'm still positive on gold. If you recollect, I already bought some gold fearing exactly this situation. So if it goes down further, I'll dollar cost average. If not, I'm going to hold the gold that I have got and let it ride up again. Put call ratio is bullish, I would say. And thanks for joining me. Good morning. Then we have, let's go and have a look at, let's go to the indices, indicators. Where are the indicators? Here they are. So S&P 500 indicator today has got a resistance at around 6,846. And yesterday, I think we managed to close above the previous day's opening because it's a red candle. Opening was higher than the closing. So that's what I would assume out here. And that's a very good step. However, if you look at the market sentiment, it is bearish, MACD is bearish, and momentum is just above average. But having looked at the futures, I would put a positive spin on this. But at the same time, if you look at this, I did this yesterday also. If you assume that this was the bull flag that was being created, so this is the flagpole, we are already below 50% of the flagpole. So it's definitely not a bull flag out there. It could be bearishness. So I'm going to be a bit skeptical about where we are going right now. And then if you look at NASDAQ, a big long trade from the insider that had 100% win rate and is up over 25 million came in yesterday ahead of Trump's speech. Oh, it's very cryptic. If you have to give me who it is and what stock they did a long trade on. Nasdaq is Nasdaq is up 0.72% this morning in pre-market trades, which is a very good. Nasdaq was up 0.72% yesterday, and if we go to the pre-market, you would see that Nasdaq is up 0.12%. It's at 25,780. So 25,780 is where Nasdaq is, and which means that we are going to be opening very close to this diagonal line of resistance. I'm going to mark this red because we confirmed it as a resistance. Sorry, we did not confirm it as a resistance, but we dropped below it. So we'll have to see whether we are able to go above this and confirm above this. So let's watch that. But meanwhile, I would say that the market sentiment is bearish, MACD is bearish, and momentum is just above average. So out here also, I think that the bull flag has been passed by almost 50%. The flagpole is almost 50% covered. So I would like to watch what happens out here. There is a gap down which has happened, which needs to be filled, and also there is a gap up that needs to be happened. This gap up has been filled. This gap up needs to be filled. So we'll see what happens when the market opens. Right now, I'm a bit divided and conflicted on whether S&P 500 and Nasdaq will go up. Part of me says that it has got to go down, but then the Supreme Court discussion is also going on for the tariffs. That may have a big impact. Part of me believes that the tariff is already baked in. I'm going to do a little bit of a detour out here and take you to some stocks which will show you. Give me 1 second. Sorry for the detour, but I want to show you some stocks like Walmart, for example. Walmart definitely faced tariffs. Now, if you look at Walmart, its earnings went down 7.20%, and its revenue was up mildly. That could be increase in costs or increase in some kind of product category or something like that, but it was a very minor increase. But the fact is that they had a drop of EPS by 7.20%. This could have been because of investment in AI or anything like that, or it could also be because they paid the tariffs. Now, what happens is that when the tariff comes back to them, they are not going to be able to pass it on to the customers. There is no way they can equitably pass it on to all the customers other than mark down the prices. They have that opportunity to do that, or else the billions of dollars that they will get in refund, they might probably use it either to invest in AI or to do some share buybacks. And that's the reason why I think they would be in a good situation. Now, if you look at another company that got hit by the tariffs, that is Caterpillar. Where is Caterpillar? We don't have one here. So let us put Caterpillar out here. So this is Caterpillar. Now, if you look at Caterpillar, their earnings, let us look at their latest earnings. In their latest earnings, they are showing EPS of 9.22 raise, that is above expectation, and also they are showing a surprise revenue of 5.16. Now, what this could mean is that they have successfully passed on the costs to their customers, and at the same time they are owed the tariffs if the government, if the Supreme Court rules that the tariff is illegal. So they will get those billions, and what will they do? They'll have to purchase a buyback. Now look at the stock price, whether it is Caterpillar or whether it is Walmart, right? They're all very close to their all-time highs. They are not at their all-time lows. So to a certain extent, I think the illegality of the tariffs are baked in, and there could be a further jump up when the court rules, if and when the court rules that the tariffs are illegal. Because then what happens to these companies is not only do they do the share buyback, but also they would have, the ones like Caterpillar would have anchored their pricing at a higher level, and now they can give discounts in order to boost their sales. And those discounts may not exactly be to the extent of the price that they have increased, and therefore that will add to the bottom line. So all of those things, I think, is propelling the indices to potentially move higher. That's my suspicion, and we'll have to see what the Supreme Court does. Now QQQ is already indicating a jump of 0.22%. So since we are at such high valuations, and if you look at the actual fundamentals, there's a whole lot of things to worry about. But these are all low-hanging fruits that are going to come in when the market is already at its peak. So the rubber band is getting stretched even more. So when the fall comes in, it's going to be much sharper and much more painful, in my opinion. Now, let's go on and have a look at AI. NVDA is back up again, 1.40%. It's trying to open above where it opened yesterday, and that's a positive approach at this point of time. And I think that our bull flag is still existent, and if we consolidate here and move upwards, that's a possibility out here. But we have the bearish divergence to contend with, and I would say that to a certain extent this drop has taken care of the bearish divergence, and I think we are getting a little bit more neutral. Inf is saying, I think we go higher. That insider trader who's probably Trump's son hasn't been wrong yet. Okay, yeah, I think I would agree with you on that one. Now next, let's look at Meta. Meta is up 0.82%, but the chart is looking absolutely bearish to me. And I don't think Meta has got anything to gain from this tariff ruling. So I may be wrong there, but I don't think how they would have paid any tariffs. So they are buying GPUs from NVIDIA and they are investing out there. And I don't think services have been tariffed. So there you go. I think we are going to look at Meta continuing to move downwards, consolidate and create this is the bear flag that we are in, and it's going to go down further. That's my opinion, because market sentiment is bearish, momentum is absolutely bearish, and momentum, after having dropped down to the bottom, has already bounced up. This is the dead cat bounce we were talking about. Could this be a little more of the dead cat bounce? Are we going to come back to test this resistance that we broke down from and see if we can break out about? That is quite possible. And if we come here, I can guarantee you that we are going to bounce back down, because this is a validated resistance and therefore it will push back at least once. So that's my feeling about Meta. So it's bearish. But for the time being, I think it could move up all the way up to the resistance of 651.65, and then it's going to come down. Google is up 0.97% in pre-market trades, and it's doing a little bit of consolidation here. And it's opening above the previous close, so that's a very good positive out here for us. So let us see how the pattern forms. It is looking strong indeed, plenty of room on the RSI, so Google could gain a little more out here. Amazon is up 0.10% in pre-market trades. This is a huge bull flag. Therefore, I'd give it a whole lot of allowances to create a bullish pennant. We have to watch a few more candles, but I would take the positive that it has today at this point of time. So it's looking pretty good out there. Now, Apple is down 0.30%. It will have a support at 264.54. And market sentiment as well as MACD both are bullish. There's plenty of room on the RSI for it to go up, and dividends are due on the 10th of November. It's not yet ex-dividend, so I think there will be a little bit more consolidation and potentially move upward for Apple. Microsoft is down 0.09% in pre-market trades. It has confirmed the breakdown from the previous day, and now it's opening below yesterday's close. So this line of resistance is already confirmed, and we are starting to move downwards. And the support next is going to be this gap fill out here. I would say that our support is going to be at 502.24. Tesla is up 0.35% in pre-market trades. As I mentioned before, I wouldn't bet against Tesla, but I'm nervously eyeing this double top out here, and I have drawn the trigger line. I'm waiting for things to happen. Let's hope for the best. You can see that the market sentiment is bearish and almost flat. MACD is also bearish, and momentum is not very high. It's above average. And Inf is saying most of the Mag 7 stocks are flattish on the year except Google, NVIDIA and Tesla. And Tesla only started moving recently. Tesla has been up there, as you can see here. Tesla has been up there. It has been consolidating in a range between 420 and 463. So that's what it has been doing. And I have been painfully aware of it because I have the shorts. Oracle is up 0.20%. Again, moving very close to this diagonal line of support, and overall the sentiment is bad. So further downward trend is still available for Oracle. We are very close to doing the gap fill, and the gap fill ends at 241.50. So the moment we reach 241.50, I want to be vigilant about this. So I'm going to draw a line out here and put 241.50 out there, and let us watch a bounce of this line and see if that happens. If it happens, then I think we can start hoping that we'll build a base out here and then start moving upwards. AMD is down 0.22% in pre-market trades, where it's still looking pretty strong to me. It's a very strong bull flag out there. And okay, if we have to take this as a bull flag and this as the breakout, the target has not been met. The bull flag starts from here to here and goes all the way here and then breaks up. So I would like to see a few more candles out here to create a new pattern. So I'm going to wait for this. Tesla package vote will announce later today. Yeah, I think that 1 trillion package is a rip-off. I hope that they don't end up paying that 1 trillion package. It's not good for the shareholders. Maybe Musk can go and start a new company. Let him work the hard way to earn the money. Yeah, if it comes in, I think if the $1 trillion is announced, institutions might sell off. Norwegian sovereign fund had opposed it. A lot of institutions had opposed it, so they will all drop the shares, and the price could fall down momentarily. That could be my opportunity to get out of TSLQ, I hope. Now let's go on to SMCI. SMCI is up 2.71% in pre-market trades. In the process, it has gone above 42.80, which was our support earlier. So we did not confirm that support as a resistance because today we are already opening above it, but the day is still young. If we close the day above this support, I am happy, and I think that we'll continue moving along this support, build a base, and then go back upward again. But if we close below the candle from yesterday, then we'll be confirming for 42.87 as a resistance, and that would be a bad thing for SMCI. Broadcom is up 0.65% in pre-market trades, continues to have the support of the diagonal line of resistance from the previous pennant. That's acting as a support at 349.02. Palantir is up 0.86%, still trying to get above 189.52. It's just on top of it right now, so I'm not going to change the color out here, but I'm thinking that let's wait and watch what happens. We have this red candle out here which needs to be validated. Right now this resistance has not been validated, so we'll see what happens after the market opens. I don't have any estimates either way. There's a gap down which needs to be filled up, that's acting as a magnet, so we'll see what happens out there. SMH is up 0.57%. SMH is still looking bearish to me, but for today the support is going to be 361.35. We're at 361.55. To that extent, I'm thinking we are looking good this morning. We have this bearish divergence which is being acted upon. That's why I think the price dropped. So we'll have to wait and see what the pattern is that's going to develop out here. Are we going to get back on top of this diagonal line of support and remain above that and create more bullish patterns? Or are we going to fall back below this and then wait for more patterns? Let us see what the candle for today tells us. Tempus AI is down 1.80. It's still got resistance today at 81.23. Right now it's down 1.80% and it's at 80.88. So that's what we have out here. The line of resistance has not been confirmed, so I'm still leaving it as a support. I'm leaving it green. We'll see what happens when the market closes, and tomorrow we'll mark the color out here. That said, let's go on and have a look at Genomics. Where is my Genomics? Where is Genomics? Okay, here we are. We have Prime. Oh, you want Tempus AI? Okay, let me go back. I forgot Tempus AI. Yeah, I spoke about Tempus AI. Let's go to Genomics. Let's look at Prime. Prime is up 0.23% in pre-market trades. It's going to get a resistance today at 4.42. Right now it's at 4.41. Let us see if we can break above this. If we can, then the next resistance is going to be 4.56. Market sentiment is bearish, MACD is bearish, momentum is below average. Chances of it going down is much higher than chances of it going up. Next, let's look at Intelia. It's down 2.21%, making some kind of a consolidation pattern out here. Let us watch what happens, but this is a huge bear flag out here, and this is a bear flag pattern playing out. So unless we get some kind of a base formation out here and then movement upwards, I think we are not yet out of the woods. And then we look at Caribou Biosciences, and if we see Caribou Biosciences, we can see that it's up 2.28% in pre-market trades. After this huge drop, there is a little bit of consolidation happening out here. I'm thinking that this is a good consolidation out here, and probably this can help Caribou Biosciences to stabilize a little bit. I would look forward to that. Right now, the market sentiment is absolutely bearish, as you can see here, and MACD is very bearish, and momentum is below average. Some news at the earnings, like cash runway or any kind of data that will be released, will be something that can boost Caribou Biosciences. So let us watch for that. Beam Therapeutics is up 0.35%, but it is definitely in a bullish channel. None of the candle patterns seem to indicate to me anything bullish, and in the absence of bullishness, looking at market sentiment being bearish and MACD being bearish and momentum below average, I would say that Beam is going to continue to be bearish. Altimmune is regaining. It's up 3.07%, but the damage is already done. Our resistance is continuing to be, to begin with, it's going to be 3.89, and then if we go up further, it's going to be 3.99. This drop is significant, and we have had earnings this morning, and we have EPS beat of 22.83, and we have a revenue surprise of 249.9%. Of course, if you look at the revenue, we were expecting a revenue of 5K and they got 1.43K. So those are the kind of numbers we are talking about. Is that going to be enough to satisfy the markets and make it move up? Well, we'll have to wait and see. But right now, I would take any positive that comes here for Altimmune. I would like to read their earnings report and see if there is some information on the data. Editas is up 0.72% in pre-market trades, but still very bearish. And Illumina is up 2.73%. As you can see, it is starting to show signs of life out here. I would take this as a bullish activity, and I would say that we are definitely breaking out from a bull flag pattern. The bull flag pattern could have been these two candles. Ideally, I would like to see 5 or 6 candles to form the pattern, but out here there seems to be a decisive breakout out here. So I'm going to think that we are going to form more patterns out here, but overall we are bullish, and this is a diagonal line of resistance that I think we have to look forward to as we go ahead. Next, look at CRISPR Therapeutics is up 0.63%. We'll still continue to get support at 56.41, which pushed the price up day before yesterday and which pushed the price up yesterday as well. So today we are opening above yesterday's close, and therefore I am very optimistic that CRISPR is trying to build a base. Allogene is up 3.60%. Again, it has got resistance at 1.16, and let us hope for the best. The overall chart is looking absolutely bearish out here. Grail is up 0.47% in pre-market trades. I would welcome the consolidation that is happening out here, but we are still in the influence of a topping tail which has not been broken, so I would say we are still bearish for Grail. PSEB is down 14.88%, and all the positives that we saw has been given up. And we had earnings yesterday, and our EPS was good, but the revenue was down, and that's why the stock is being punished right now. But I'm thinking that it's going to have a little bit of a bounce back once it comes closer to this gap fill. I think the gap fill is going to be at 1.60. So I'd be looking forward to buy some PSEB at 1.60 as a speculative buy, looking for a short-term bounce. So it's going to be a kind of day trade thing, or at the most the next morning to sell. So I may probably buy 500 of these PSEB and try to make a little bit of a profit out there. Again, personal opinions and not financial advice out there. ARCG is down 0.20% in pre-market trades. Still looking bearish to me, still under the influence of the reverse head and shoulders. And let us look at Vertex. Vertex is down 1.11% as of yesterday, but this morning it's up 0.01%, but that's neither here nor there. I think that we have a double top out here, and if we fall below 416.27, I would say that the double top has been triggered, and then I can draw some targets out here. So I think Vertex is in a critical situation out here. Ginkgo Bioworks is up 1.81%, but it's overall in a bearish channel. Now Precision is up 0.75% in pre-market trades, trying to consolidate a little bit, but it's still looking bearish to me overall. And Eli Lilly continues to march upwards. It's up another 54%. This is a topping tail, my friends, and unless we close out this topping tail, I think Eli Lilly could get into some serious trouble. Let's look at Ultragenics. Ultragenics has no trade before pre-market, but you can see yesterday it opened up very low and it managed to come back into this diagonal line of support. So the diagonal line of support has not been broken, and even this line of support, horizontal line of support, has not been broken. So this morning we are opening, if we open above this diagonal line of support, I think that I would be very happy, because that would indicate that Ultragenics is back in business and it's not going to get killed. RKT is up 0.25%, again consolidating out here. I like the consolidation, but I don't like the bear flag out here. So I'm a bit worried for RKT. Next, let us go and have a look at currencies. In currencies, I'm looking at Bitcoin. Bitcoin continues to consolidate out here, forming more bear flags. I'm thinking that it's a foregone conclusion that we're going to fall below 101,189.64. And when that happens, I would buy a little bit of Bitcoin. Next, you look at Ethereum. It's also down 1.21%, but it's managing to stay above this support of 3,382.32. And I think it's going to get a resistance at 3510. Now let me mark that red. Let me mark these resistances as red. So that's where we are. Okay, let's look at the current price. The current price is 3382.51. 3382.51 is out here. So in fact, it is below even this line of support. So I have to mark 3375.82 also as a resistance. So it has fallen down significantly. Now I would say that it could get some support at 3287.28. If it doesn't get the support out there, then I suspect that we are going to have a much bigger fall. Let me drop a new line of support, and I would say that we have a line of support out here, which is going to be 3141.92. That's going to be the support for Ethereum. It's going to be a big fall indeed for Ethereum. Yeah, Rocket might take a long time to be back up again. Next, we look at XRP. Now, XRP is down 1.86%. That is terrible. But we still have some kind of a support at 2.21. So I'm going to mark this diagonal line of resistance as a line of support. And let us hope for the best. But things are not looking that great for XRP. I'm going to show you ZGLD, which is what I have with me. And ZGLD is starting to consolidate out here. We can always say it's a bear flag and it has broken downwards. But the price action had moved up yesterday. Now let us go to indicators and look at gold once again before we close. I think it's in futures. So let's go to the futures. Let's look at gold. So gold is showing a little bit of a life out here. This could be a double bottom. And if we go above this red line of resistance, then I think it could trigger a double bottom. That could be a bullish trend that we can see. And if that happens, then we'll start challenging the diagonal line of resistance. So that's what I am thinking. But if we break down below 3958, I'm definitely dollar cost averaging a little more. So that's all I got, my friends, and I'll catch up with you again in the next one. Bye for now.